Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Brent Colabella. I'm a middle childhood education major at West Liberty University and also minoring in special ed. My areas of emphasis are math and history.
Why did you decide to become a teacher?
I wanted to become a teacher because I wanted to be that positive influence in children's life. When I think of myself growing up outside of my parents, I think of teachers and coaches as being that person that was my motivator, or that person that had a really big impact on my life growing up. So when I just wanted to decide what career I was going down, I instantly looked to become a teacher. I feel like besides your parents growing up, that's the people that you see the majority of the year every day. Um, so that's why I just chose to be a teacher, and I also want to be a coach. As as my dad and other coaches have shown me that outside of the classroom, you can really have life lessons um, in sports related activities.
How have you used or how will you use technology in the classroom?
Technology nowadays is huge in the classroom. From using iPads in the classroom to using smart boards, etc. I think, especially in the math world, you can use math tremendously through different websites, aids in certain activities. For example, like if you're doing a lesson on Pythagorean theorem or solving for squares or anything like that, you could do your lesson. You can show examples through the interactive whiteboard using websites, and at the end you could use an example like Kahoot, which is a gaming site. You make up the questions. You determine how long it will take for each question, and then you have the class solve them, and then they'll have like four answers, and they determine the answer. And it's kind of a fun way to where they feel like they're playing a game, but they're getting the work out of it. You could use it as a review for tests, or you could just use it, implement it in your lesson to where you feel fit. And on the history realm, it's huge. You can look up maps. You can look up explorers. You could use a virtual field trip around the world using certain websites. So I feel like technology, especially nowadays, is huge in the classroom.
What is your teaching philosophy?
Uh, my teaching philosophy is I feel that not every student's the same. So I feel like you have to be able to adapt to your classroom. So one year um, you're teaching a lesson on math, and the students feel like you get it and you can move on quickly. But the next year, that whole classroom difference. There's different kids, different backgrounds. So you might have to be able to adapt year in and year out. So I think my teaching philosophy is stay flexible. You got to be able to adapt to your kids. The kids shouldn't adapt to the teacher. The teacher should adapt to the kids, and you should aid in their learning.
What activities, clubs, or sports are you willing to sponsor if you were offered a position?
Uh, Sports have always been a big part of my life. I've grown up playing football, basketball, and baseball. I'll be willing to do football, basketball, and baseball in math club if needed, or history club if needed. I feel passionate about that. But my true love is the football and the game of football. I play college football at West Liberty University. I'm a football junkie. I'm an offensive junkie. As the things I have now already made up is my future offense that I like to learn. And as of here, these are play sheets that have the formations and the different types of calls on it. And just as a quick example, so like I said, I'm a football junkie. So on here could be tailored to any type of system. I feel to be a football coach, which is I want to be an offensive coach and eventually a head coach. You have to, just like the classroom, you have to tailor your offense compared to your team. So on this, I have many different types of styles that can work on all different teams, different formations. Just for example, so if we're seeing a team, which is a quarters team, which is a cover four team, which is a two high safeties. You guys may know this, may not know this, but a great play that will beat it is a play that I like to call is volunteer, Hummer. It just anything that stresses them safeties, which is a cover four. I don't really want to get in depth with this right now about play calling in the offices, but this is something that I would really like to talk about with the athletic director and the football coaches about becoming a part of that staff and that field of work at your school.
What 3 words would your peers, administration, or students use to describe you?
First, I'd like to say hardworking. I'm the type of guy that prides himself on hard work. I feel like anything's achievable with hard work. And people gravitate to hardworking people. That's what I've always learned. Playing sports, being a quarterback, being a shortstop, playing basketball. Those are the things that I like to base myself. I mean, there's no substitute for hard work. You got to be willing to put in the work, and then another would be loyal. I feel like I'm a loyal guy. You have to be true to what you believe in, and your word means something. When you say something to a kid, a student, a player, a parent, they have to be able to believe you wholeheartedly, and it shouldn't feel like they're lying to you. Your word is everything, and if you show day in, day out that you're loyal and you're truthful to what you believe in, to what you say, you'll get the respect of your peers and also your students. And finally, I think leadership. I've always been a leader in everything that I do. I feel like you lead by example, and that goes back to hardworking. If you're a quarterback and you're not hardworking, how can you expect your linemen or your receivers to be hardworking? And I feel like that translates to being a teacher. If your peers and your students feel like you're hardworking, they're going to want to work just as hard and be there right with you. And that's huge on the realm of coaching. You have to be willing to do the work. If you're not able to do the work, if you're not able to put in the extra hours, how can your kids just put in the normal hours? That's one thing that I've learned throughout the years, and that's one thing that I'm going to bring to the table.
Which component of your resume are you most proud of, and why?
Probably in high school I won the Press Macedonia Student Athlete Award, as you can see in this picture. There's just many things that go with it. Like I'm proud of the accomplishments on the field, but that award ties in to what you do on the field, to what you do in the classroom, to what you do in the community as a whole. And what I'd like to say to people, when you have them awards, the thing that makes me proud about an award like that, or an award like being the most passing yard, or an award like have the most passing yards and touchdowns in OVAC history, is that there's many components of that. It's the support group that's helped me get that, from my family that I can show here, to my father, which has coached me in football and baseball, which my mother, who has who battled breast cancer, who's done great things and showed me how to be a great player on the field, but most importantly, a great person off the field. And then obviously one of my twin sister, which is a great support group. That there's many people that go along with that award. That's one thing about awards that my family and my coaches and my team have taught me, that it isn't an individual award. Yes, it says my name on it, but when you get down to it, that award doesn't happen without all the linemen blocking for me, all the receivers catching them balls, and all the running backs catching passes as well. So as you step back and look at it, individual awards just means that your team is doing well, and you can relate that to the classroom and to being a coach, that it's a team effort. So when one classroom is doing well, the school's doing well. When one player on your football team is doing well, usually means that the whole team's doing well. So as I like to tell kids, students, that strive and have a good support group around you, that is what's going to make you successful in life, is the people around you.
What type of classroom management structure would you implement if you were hired?
The type of classroom management that I would implement, I feel that having a set structure in the classroom is huge. Having something that the kids can bank on, that they know that they're going to do day in and day out. And you can tweak that from here to there based on what you're doing in the lesson. But I would start off the day with a bell ringer or warm-up to get the kids' heads moving and get their mind focused on the task at hand that we're going to accomplish in that class period. I feel like making the classroom a fun environment. Like I feel like there needs to be some strictness and some structure to it. But the only way I feel that a student can learn is if they know that going into that classroom they're going to have fun. We as educators, we don't want them just sitting at a desk just doing worksheet after worksheet, busy work. We want them interactive. In a 40 to 45 minute classroom, I feel a student should get up or switch to a different activity about 3 times in that class period. If you make that classroom a fun environment for students to learn, I feel like they'll be eager to learn. They'll be looking forward to coming to that classroom, and they won't want to act off. Yes, you're going to have students that act out or off task, but if it's a fun classroom and it's a classroom they can trust and they want to, I feel like you can hone them in and you can bring them back to what the goal of task is in that lesson plan.
Last question. How will you motivate parents to become involved in the classroom and in their child's education?
I feel like this is huge. I feel like you need to have a connection with the parent, and you need to know them from a personal level, from parent-teacher conference. I feel like which is huge is which kind of I hit earlier on in this interview is that you need to be loyal. You need to have some trust when their parents come to you and they ask you a question. They need to know that your word is true and know that when they send their kid to you, that they can trust you and believe that you're doing what's the best interest for that student. Also feel that having a good relationship is having ways for your teachers and parents to connect. So if they want to call, be willing to answer that call. When they answer that call, they should know that you want to listen and to concern, and that at both ends of that call, from the parents and the teacher, that the student's best interest is at hand. So if you build that relationship and give opportunities through emails, phone calls, parent-teacher conference, if you see them at a sporting event, say hello. Ask them how their student or their kid is doing at home. Are they struggling with homework? Is there anything that we can do more at school? Because that is key. If you can get the teacher from the student to the parent all working in that common goal, which is the benefit of that student, then the student can be successful.